first got here, man, about 45 was
check into that, man. Didn't even recognize.
Mic check 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Check 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 1 2 3 4. Mic check 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Check 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 1 2 3 4.
How you doing? I was probably good middle of the year when we
Grant's
get out
coming for
to
your job pretty
College
hard.
Station.
What's that?
Grant's coming for your job pretty hard. He was a standout yesterday. One of the best ones he made.
Good for him. You know,
Really took to the role.
he's got, he's got great hair. He would look good on camera. You know, we need guys like that.
How long does it last?
Wireless 1.
No long.
Wireless 1. Wireless mic 1. Check 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 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Wireless mic 1. Check check 1 2 3 4. Wireless 2. Wireless 2. Wireless 2. Wireless mic 2. Mic check 1 2.
Coach Spurrier.
Wireless 2.
I put it in there and I was like, I'm gonna do this. And I was like, I can do
Brian is in,
I'll do it afterwards.
he's in the past. Somebody on, not, what I talked to, because I talked to him.
I'm sure that was a pretty big thrill. Yeah. Not just saying, you might have some now, that was kind of cool.
Yeah, I think I've got a pretty good, yeah, no experience remarried.
Which is just as important to ride around.
Are you checking towards the right and splits that?
And kind of like that.
Like, here's some more.
Mine was 67 now. It was funny, like, actually, people in Miami are actually saying it's Miami down now.
Jamie Johnson.
I mean, even if it's 2 years, he gets it back. If it's 2 years, he gets it back. I don't know if he does.
Dabo turned down a job.
He is, I knew he was after their game, after that weekend.
Yeah, that would be exciting.
That was actually one of my notes though.
Rick may have done it first.
Well, they filmed about Saturday or Sunday here in South Carolina, so. I was looking at it and I was like, I was gonna do that the second I got back to the office.
Things last week. Curry thinks we said we're running.
So you're recording? That's a good choice.
Yes.
How is the new stuff?
It's awesome.
I'm so
Problems getting it to work.
I'm sure.
Now it seems to be doing all right. They did great points.
We're supposed to be there tomorrow, some off tomorrow, talking to, I guess, whatever 326 is now. So hopefully, I want to try to come in and play with it. So we'll see how it goes. Really stuff.
Hey, Ben, if you don't have a Halloween costume yet, I have a great suggestion for you. Allen was a hangover too. It's gotta be the second one. All you gotta do is get you a pair of sunglasses.
Is that the dude
You
that
start
was,
pilling.
I thought you were gonna say the dude that was in the trunk.
No, we don't need to be seeing anything. I'm gonna kill Chow.
I didn't realize.
I guess, Alex, do you know Alex?
I mean, in real
He,
life, and the show was
worked at
kind of written loosely off of his life.
He was actually my first producer, and he's student, or he's assistant
Apparently, he just
teaching
got
that class.
carried out and did
He said
something
every
to
time
leave
the kids would end up playing sports,
there.
he was
He
like,
wasn't,
yeah, right.
you know,
He was like,
he wasn't out
they just
looking to
think
be
it's
an
like,
actor or anything. And he, well,
I don't know,
because,
it's a
well, he was a doctor when he coached.
I could just assume.
His second
that they
job
all just
was,
think it's insane.
he did do
He's
stage.
like, I want you to come tell them.
Cause I remember seeing the boosters stand.
Okay.
Oh, they got stuff.
Go speak some God. They're probably just gonna be like, oh, yeah, just another one to like. Exactly.
So they actually do it, and they're like.
I know.
Yeah, he said
Now I'm like, it's weird.
he must have been
It's
just
like,
having fun. Not
that's
like,
me.
I was
Like in the last 10 years, I feel like I've been listening to other people say that stuff.
yeah, I didn't know what he was. He asked Brian what he's getting. He had his hat on. I guess he was just hanging out. It's like, well, I mean,
Well, I was doing both. I mean, it's been, there's only so much you can get from that. So I just gave one to Patrick and I write up the same story that we write up every morning. And take a couple of it.
he called me.
It's like you guys are doing blood stuff in my backyard.
It was really busy.
Yeah. I guess they like left the school open for you?
Yeah, they
That's cool.
I want to make it out.
Yeah,
I just
I'm
have to
sure
look at
Harvey
I
was
think
probably
Mark was already
mad
on
that
the
everyone.
page. I was like, I could be a little late with that. So
I think
read
they
it.
were just more happy to be.
I read it. Whatever it was. Oh, yeah, because they were like, I don't know if I said that, but Tom did a good job.
Really?
Your dad,
He yelled at us like 4 years last time we were there. There was something that was
You never know.
on Saturday. He was mad that
And I don't mean that way.
No, no.
we were like,
Because he doesn't.
we're not able to
They're all worried about, yeah, making sure they don't think about it.
That's always a plus.
So they'll never like, yeah, they'll never like those stadiums.
Now, the, US one and the
I think the whole Saturday. This or
Right.
So they really couldn't get like,
Yeah. The only other time was when there was that like campus-wide power outage, and they were making that little go home. And then Thursday power outage, we were in the pool, and nobody showed us. And he was like, you need to get out there shooting this. And I was like, I'm going
he's gonna be playing from,
Friday night on how old the girl is.
it's like 8 out of 28 of us, so like, putting the camera on.
Which one was
Sure, that was crazy.
Oh. She's probably 25. 40 years.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for being here. Just to kind of let you know what we're going to do here. We're going to start off with quarterback Perry Orth, and then tailback Brandon Wilds, and then place kicker Elliott Fry. After Coach Elliott is done, we'll have also Bryson Allen Williams. So first off, we'll start off with Perry. So questions? Here we go. David.
Perry, how much of a relief is it to be here and to be able to just talk about football for a change instead of what's going on off the field?
Yeah, it's been good. Just getting ready for Texas A&M. We started preparation a little bit last week, and now, we got a nice little game plan going into Saturday. But yeah, it's been good to get back to football.
Well, staying on that, have you been comfortable through the bye week and the preparations? And was it nice just to, like he said, focus on football, but at the same time, know going forward you're coming off a win?
Yeah, it was nice. Definitely going into the bye week. It's kind of like a smaller version of like when you win the bowl game. You have all off season, kind of have a good taste in your mouth. And it was good to have a victory right before the bye week and get some well-needed rest and now get ready to finish off the second half of the year.
To the left, Pete.
Perry, how are you feeling physically right now? I know your shoulder was a little banged up after the Vanderbilt game. How are you feeling right now?
I feel great. Yeah, I was just a little sore. I'd been throwing pretty much every single day since the beginning of August, and it was nice to just kind of relax and fortunately I didn't have to throw too much, but I practiced here and there, and it was good to get some well-needed rest. But yeah, I'm back to full go this week.
Back to the left again, David.
Perry, how much earlier were you guys allowed to focus on Texas A&M, or at least start prep work on Texas A&M with the bye week than you would have normally during the regular course of a week?
Well, I guess last week I kind of did some stuff on my own, and during the bye week we were getting a lot of the younger guys some reps and stuff like that. But our preparation and film study, it gave us a few extra days to prepare for them. Just keep looking at tape and seeing, where we can attack and different things like that. But yeah, I mean the bye week you always have a few extra days to prepare.
And we heard Coach talk on his radio show last week about maybe some multi-back sets and some different things, and you guys talked last week about practicing some of that. Do you think people are going to be surprised, perhaps, in what they see you guys come out in Texas A&M? Is it going to be markedly different or anything?
No, not necessarily. We've all along we've had these plays. We're just now going to try to incorporate them into some different situations that we've been practicing on. So hopefully that'll pay off come Saturday.
Perry, A&M has Myles Garrett only in there, kind of an elite pass rusher. As a quarterback, do you keep your eye on him, or do you just trust your lineman to say, keep that guy off of me?
Yeah, he's an incredible pass rusher. Him and the other one, number 10. They both get after the passer, but when you're playing, you got to just focus on down the field and trying to find your receivers, and you got to trust your offensive line that they're gonna do their job, and they've done a heck of a job so far this year. I can't give them enough credit. Our offensive line has blocked their tails off for me and the running backs, and I think last week showed a lot of their hard work finally, paying off, and I can't thank them enough for, keeping me healthy so far this year.
Back to the left, Rich.
Perry, there's been some talk the last few weeks about red zone struggles, things like that. Looking at it the other way, where would the offense be right now without Elliott Fry?
Shoot, Elliott Fry, he does an amazing job for us. Like you mentioned, we've had a few struggles here and there in the red zone, and just almost knowing that it's a guaranteed 3 points it takes some of the pressure off of you as an offense. Now, obviously, we want to get in the end zone and score 6 points, but knowing that you have a kicker like Elliott to knock 3 down for you, it's pretty nice.
With the way A&M rushes the passer, how much of that comes from just that really talented front four, and how much comes from sending extra guys at you?
A lot of it is from the front four. They do a few different things, zone blitzes and man blitzes and stuff like that. But their front four is one of the better front fours that I've seen on tape since I've been here. And their 2 defensive ends are special, so we got our hands full with them.
Perry, Shawn's been very complimentary of your running ability, saying that you can, get out there and make something happen. How confident are you that you can move the chains in that zone read system?
I feel very confident. Like I said, this offseason I worked a lot on being able to do that. The opportunity hasn't presented itself a lot, but it has a few times, and it happened against Georgia. The next big thing, I guess, would be to when plays break down, maybe scramble for a few extra yards, kind of do like how Connor Shaw used to do. He was special at that, and try to incorporate that into my game a little bit. But, I feel very capable of running the ball, so hopefully we'll get to see some of that this weekend.
In the back to the left, Tim.
As a kid growing up, how much did you know about Texas A&M football, and did you ever think you would start at quarterback?
Well, growing up, I always used to watch them play Texas on Thanksgiving night. That was always pretty special. Me and my roommate always talked, man, it felt like every year Texas A&M was playing Texas Thanksgiving night, and Colt McCoy is the quarterback running all over them. And, it's a pretty awesome program. It's pretty special that I'm going to be able to start at a place like that. Now I think this will be my 4th start. So I have at Georgia, at LSU, and at Texas A&M. So that'd be pretty cool.
To the left, David.
I know it was over a year ago, but is there any talk this week about the Texas A&M game last year and how much it hurt you guys, and just sort of any lingering feelings over that?
Yeah, I think more so we want to win the ball game for this year. But yeah, last year that was a pretty bad loss. So we're just gonna try to go out and win the ball game. It hasn't been too much talk. It's been more of a focus on now, and not so much reflect on what had happened.
Anything else for Perry? Thank you, Barry. I'll bring Brandon up next. Questions for tailback Brandon Wilds. David.
Brandon, how long after Steve's announcement what did it take for the team to fully get back to normal?
We bounced back pretty quick next day. Coach left, so no time to really harp on it too bad. But just go at it the next day and just go on from there.
Brandon, can you just talk about what you've seen from Texas A&M's defense, especially the front four, and how you're going to have to try and get past them this week?
Oh yeah, good D line. Just trying to get good pass blockings, running up the middle, running to the outside. There's a lot of different schemes for this game. Nothing in particular. I've seen a lot of great D lines before, and I'm pretty sure I'll be able to handle it.
Tim.
Brandon, what do you remember from last year's A&M game, and did any of that kind of stick with you in the offseason at all?
Yeah, we lost, but just got to bounce back from it. It was a good team last year, also a good team this year. So just go out there and just give our all, and hopefully we have a great outcome.
Individually, do you feel like you're as healthy as you've been in a while going into this game?
Say that again?
Individually, do you feel as you're as healthy as you've been in a while coming into this game?
Oh, yeah, very healthy. Coming off the injury, of course, and off a bye week, so very healthy.
How much are you looking forward to playing at Texas A&M, a new venue for the Gamecocks?
I think I almost had about 60 plays last week, so hopefully 80. I'm ready for a 30-plus carry. So.
No, I mean playing at Texas A&M for the first time for South Carolina.
Oh, yeah, this is my first time going to Texas. Heard it's a great atmosphere out there, but I'm not really a person who gets nervous in front of crowds. I'm probably do better in front of big crowds, so hopefully it's a lot of fans there. So show them what I got.
Rich.
Brandon, Elliott Fry is the only player on the team that's from Texas. I imagine that he's getting in touch with guys this week trying to scoop up as many tickets as he can for family and that. Has he gotten with you yet about that?
He hasn't yet, but I'm pretty sure if he can get tickets, I'm pretty sure there should be a lot of tickets open for him.
David?
Brandon, we asked you guys last week about like the multi-back sets and things like that Coach had been talking about. How do you think that is most how is that most gonna be evident to like fans watching the game? Is it gonna be in terms of different personnel maybe being used, or perhaps some of the stuff you guys are running looks that much different from what you have thus far?
Well, yes, different personnel, of course, but you just never know who has the ball. With the read option, just the different formations we have and the plays that we set up, it'd be kind of hard just to cover one guy or focus on one guy.
Any other questions for Brandon? Thank you, Brandon. We'll continue. Junior place kicker Elliott Fry. Questions?
Elliott, how many games have you gone to at A&M, or will this be your first trip there too?
It won't be my first trip to College Station, but it'll be the first time I actually go to a game there. I grew up a huge Texas fan, so I was always going to Austin to see the Texas games. But I think when I was in middle school, I went to a Texas A&M rivalry game, but that was at Texas, so looking forward to it.
Rich?
Elliott, I was looking at some of the updated statistics. It looks like you're still leading the nation in field goal attempts, and I think you're one behind the leader in field goal makes. The accuracy, though, is a little bit down compared to last year, but your length is longer. You know, what's the difference in getting more length this year on field goals, but the accuracy maybe going down a little bit?
Yeah, my accuracy has gone down a little bit. I'm not happy about it. I'm working on it, but I think with the length this year is, I guess I've had the opportunity to kick a little bit more manageable, over 50 yarders, like a 51 and 52, are a little bit more manageable than like a 57 or something. Previously, I never really attempted anything in that 50 to 54 range, so I think that's probably a little bit of the difference.
Elliott, obviously we know your backstory, you know how you ended up here, but when you were debating whether or not you decided to go all the way across country to here, was the fact that you got to play at Texas A&M, did that factor in at all?
Actually, I didn't know that I would be able to play A&M. I don't think when I first came here, I don't think the schedule was made yet for the that we're going to play A&M each year. So, yeah.
Back, Tim.
So growing up a Longhorn guy, is this kind of a rivalry game for you in that sense?
Honestly, I've never personally liked A&M, but I got a lot of friends that go there. I got a lot of family members that go there. My stepbrother, he's a sophomore there right now, so it'll definitely be pretty cool to play there.
David?
2 questions. First of all, you talked about more manageable 50-ish yard field goals. How do you stretch length as a kicker? Is it just working on leg strength over the offseason, or how do you do that?
A lot of it is, in warm-ups, you can kick, a 60-yarder. It's not about that, really. It's about when you're back at plus 50, you have to hit a perfect ball. When you're kicking an extra point, it may look perfect on TV, but I may have not hit it perfect, or even on a short-length field goal, you may not be hitting it exactly the way you want it to, and that really shows on a plus 50-yarder, where everything has to be perfect.
And there's been so much made the last couple of weeks about some of the red zone shortcomings on the part of the offense. How do you look at that as a kicker point of view? Because it's more opportunities for you, but maybe it's not as many points for the offense.
Yeah, in a close game where you need a touchdown, obviously, I'd rather prefer we not kick, like a 22-yarder or something. I obviously always hope our offense scores a touchdown, but if we're up by 40, then that's a different story. Maybe I might want to get a 20-yarder in.
Elliott, with so many family and friends there in Texas, has there been some good trash talk going back and forth between you and the folks in the Lone Star State?
Yeah, with my family a little bit. We've kind of been joking about this for a while. Ever since we started playing A&M, I always joke with my stepbrother, who's there now, about me and my dad talk about how if it came down to a game winner, what would he actually want to happen? So, yeah, hopefully he'll want me to do good, but I know he still wants A&M to win it deep down in his heart.
How do kickers rate as trash talkers?
Pretty solid, I think. To
the middle.
How different is prepping for a game when you're going back to the home state in terms of like rounding up tickets, that sort of thing, and when was the last time you actually got back to Texas?
Well, yeah, I was actually just back in Texas this weekend for fall break and the bye week. But luckily, being a big game that I need tickets, a lot of people aren't going to be going from my teammates and stuff. A lot of their parents probably aren't making the trip out there, so I've been able to get tickets pretty easily.
To the left, Pete.
Elliott, I know you saw what happened at the end of the Florida State Georgia Tech game. There was another game, I think, ended on in a similar way, the kick six at Auburn a couple years ago. When you see long field goal tries like that get returned, do you and maybe Coach Robinson, does that come into effect the strategy that you might want to take, that perhaps you might not want to try a longish 55, 56-yard field goal at the end because of those instances?
We haven't talked about that. We do have, when we get on the longer ones, we have, a cover call, and we practice it in practice, us kicking it short to the returners and have them running one back. Obviously, you don't kick it any differently. You kick it to make it. You don't kick it to try to maybe make it but miss long or something like that. But, it's something I guess we all have in the back of our heads.
On that same line, Elliott, a couple of weeks ago, LSU ran a fake field goal for a touchdown to help beat Florida. As a kicker, does that make you feel pretty good saying, we can do that too? I mean, have you ever had a chance to do that in high school?
In high school I had a reverse, but it wasn't me kicking. I just lined up at wide receiver, but that was the only time I scored a touchdown. But, Yeah, it's definitely always cool seeing a kicker get into the end zone, especially in the SEC, someone that we play. I think it's awesome. Yeah.
Rich?
Elliott, a lot of players, when they're going to play their home state team or something like that, or a team a bunch of their high school buddies are on, they can get pumped up during the game and go out and block somebody or tackle somebody or hit somebody. Do you have to kind of do the opposite and avoid getting too pumped up so that you don't throw your technique off?
I don't think it's really avoided. I think, especially, being a junior, I think I've kind of learned as a kicker, you really learn to kind of control yourself and have good self-control and not get ahead of yourself or not get down on yourself. So I think it all comes down to really just concentrating and not letting that get to you.
Tim?
For South Carolinians, what's the main difference between Texas and South Carolina?
That's a good question. I guess Texas is a lot bigger. That's the main difference, I guess. A lot more people there.
Playing off of that, I've lived in Texas before, and they do think of it that way. Do you think that people look down on South Carolina, particularly Texas A&M fans that for that reason?
I wouldn't say anything like that. Then again, I'm not an A&M fan, so never really have been. So I don't know.
David?
As a kicker, what's it like breaking down that dam of a 50-yard field goal? Is that a mental block to get over? And once you do it, is it easier to convert more of those?
I don't think there's really a mental block. Like I said, I think last year, I hadn't really attempted a 50-yarder other than a plus 55, and that, 57, 58, that's a pretty tough field goal to make. So I think once you get down to kicking more, like I said, more manageable 50-yarders, when you get down to 50, 51, 52, those are a lot more manageable to make.
In the back to Dwayne.
After being here a couple of years, what do you like more about South Carolina, the state now, and what do you miss most about Texas?
Definitely playing for the Gamecocks. I like the whole SEC culture. I was never a part of that growing up. I was, a big Big 12 fan because of the University of Texas. But and A&M wasn't really in the SEC until, I guess, my senior year in high school. So the SEC wasn't really big in Texas or anything. But I miss the Texas barbecue a lot. It's pretty good.
You mentioned going to a Texas A&M game. How disappointed are people in that state the fact that rivalry no longer exists? And do you sense there's a surge of momentum to get that rivalry back? And what's sort of been the reaction of people in that state to Texas A&M leaving the Big 12 and coming to join the SEC?
Yeah, I actually remember. I think I was at the final, or I was either at it or watching it on TV, but I think Justin Tucker kicked a game-winning field goal to kind of end the rivalry. I always thought that was really cool. I was a big fan of his growing up too. But what was the rest of the question? Sorry, I lost.
What's sort of been do you sense maybe it's a surge of momentum in the state to have the rivalry come back? Is there a sense of disappointment in the state that it even went away in the first place? And what's sort of been the reaction in that state to Texas A&M leaving the Big 12 and coming to join the SEC?
Yeah, being a Texas fan, like I said, grew up always watching the rivalry. So I was disappointed that it wouldn't be a rivalry anymore. But at the same time, I don't think people really care all that much.
Adding on to the second part of that question, have you noticed, or have people talked to you what SEC culture has permeated into the state of Texas? Have people talked about that at all?
No, not really. I don't even think it's, I personally probably don't think it's as the same as it is kind of here where it's been for a while, and down in Alabama, Georgia, those areas. I still don't think it's really as much like that. And I think a lot of that's due to, you got the Cowboys in Texas, everybody's a big NFL fan, a lot of other sports too. So, here, like, a lot of people have always told me is, they don't have a major sports team here. So I think people look at the Gamecocks a lot, with a lot more. Yeah, whatever.
Anything else for Elliott? Thank you, Elliott.
Thanks.
the third and fourth rounds for all falls right. It could be in Lexington, Kentucky. So if they get some, I didn't really read. I saw the score. But there's a lot that's got to go right on that.
He said that by after 90 minutes, that field was now playable. What they had 15
It's like with the Connecticut women, at least they kind of take this thing to where they play some at home, they play some in Hartford. It's a statewide thing, man. He takes them around, and honestly, they're so good. It's not like the location's good.
You only have that one road you can get in. I've been there. Yeah. So like they play both, they play half and half. That's just something that got here that they have 7 years ago. And also because we just said.
How many people does the casino around So for a USC St. John's, that probably be.
Anyway.
I'm hoping to, because I can stay up there. Thing is, I'm sure if I haven't got the clearance, go ahead and get the link ticket. Yeah, striking about this, yeah, you're not going to the Virgin Islands or to Hawaii with the girls. I kind of. Gotta stay here and watch this Carolina.
That's right.
And this year,
Reminder, if everyone would, please put your phone on silent vibrate. Joe?
How are you guys doing? Good, good, good. Texas A&M week. Had a good bye week last week, preparation. Had an opportunity to go back and get some younger guys out some reps. Experiment with a few little formations, some wrinkles. And now we're into the full game week, getting ready to go out to Texas A&M. Leaving this Friday and playing that game, I believe, at 12 Eastern time. And so, looking forward to having a good matchup with them. They're a great football team, very, very talented. They've got great skill position players, some get-off defensive ends that like to get up the field and rush the passer, and an unbelievable head coach. So we're looking forward to the opportunity. Any questions?
Shawn, how, I guess, relaxing or relieving is it to come in and just be able to talk about football this week?
It's good. It's really good. That's what we're here to do. Play the game of football, focus on it, get those distractions out of the way. And now we've got a full week of preparation where we can just, solely focus in on Texas A&M and what we need to do to get better and try to accomplish that.
Shawn, how did you measure progress during the bye week? Was it, hey, we saw some good things on the field, we were able to talk to some recruits and really make some inroads there, or, our players got more comfortable from the week before when things were a little more chaotic?
Well, it was fly by the seat of your pants the week before, and so this time we had a little bit of preparation, a little bit of normalcy. So when we took the field, we could say, all right, this is what we've got to go out and do. We don't have any distractions here on Monday night or Tuesday morning, and I'm the head coach, and let's move on from there. But it was an opportunity for us to, number one, to get out on the road recruiting, which I thought we did well, and kind of spread the South Carolina message, and not to sell the university by no means, because we certainly don't have to do that with this fine institution, but to see younger players, to get our preparations in, whether it be new packages or new personnel, to get those in and see how they work.
Yeah, you just mentioned it, staying on that, the wrinkles that you just mentioned, the new packages. How much was that of last week, or is it, should we expect a lot of different things heading into this game?
It's some things that we've always had in and just not ever had the opportunity to kind of get them in the course of a game. We started on them a little bit last week. It's something we've always practiced, but like I said, it's just something we haven't utilized during a lot of the games. But we're trying to implement a little bit of different wrinkles and attack people a little bit differently, and we were able to kind of jumpstart on that.
Shawn, how beneficial was the bye week in helping you become more comfortable in your new role?
It's still moving really fast, to tell you the truth, but the open week, not having a game to prepare for this past Saturday was a nice break, because like I said, that week went really fast for myself and our football team. It gave me an opportunity to kind of get my thoughts in order, to have a plan in place that you just didn't have to go and make decisions the day before or the night before. You can think things out thoroughly and move on from there. So it helped me to a great degree.
Shawn, are you looking for Perry to stay in the whole game, or would you try to put in maybe Mitch or Nunez to shake it up a bit?
I'm looking for us to have the opportunity to win the football game. If it means for Perry Orth to stay in there and lead our football team to the victory, then of course we're going to do that. You've all seen Nunez and Connor Mitch in action, and they both bring different things to our football team. Whether it be a Nunez package, who knows? It may be more speed option with him out there. I don't know. That'll be played out during the course of the game and how it's kind of flowing. But right now we're stable with Perry. We think he's done a good job in his last outing, and we think our team is kind of falling in place behind him, and they know exactly what to expect from him. So we're pretty pleased with that.
You mentioned the defensive end position, but Myles Garrett is really the leader of that bunch and really talented. How do you stop a guy like that?
I don't know if you stop a guy like that, but you certainly can't take 7-step drops and get us in third down situations and let him rush the passer. I mean, it just doesn't match up. I don't care what kind of offensive tackles you've got. You've got to mix in protections. We've got to slide protect. We've got to move the pocket. We've got to have some cut protections on there. But we can't give him the same protection, over and over and over again to let that guy get off the ball and get up the field and haul the other defensive end. Both those guys can rush the passer. They've got a good front seven. that can get after you. But, we just got to keep them at balance. No third and longs. I'm sure we'll have a few. Then we'll have to sit back there and count on our offensive line to do a great job. But we've got to also be smart in how we do it.
Shawn, going back to the different formations you guys have been tinkering with over the last week, watching this game like on television or from the outsider's perspective, do you think, are y'all going to look markedly different perhaps than you have, or is it going to be that cut and dry?
I don't know if if you're just average fan, you'll probably say, oh my God, I haven't seen this, I haven't seen that. But you'll see a little bit more consistency. At times we would throw a certain formation out there and maybe run 2 plays out of it where it was really beneficial and never get back to it. We'll probably stick with, some of those formations that you might not have seen in the past, maybe just once or twice a game. You'll probably see more of those.
Growing up being a South Carolina guy, did you have any kind of familiarity with Texas A&M? How did you view that program?
To tell you the truth, I never even thought about them growing up. Probably the first thing that, I always knew about the Southwest Conference, but to tell you the truth, I had no reason to kind of study Texas A&M or follow them for any reason.
How much have you engaged with John and Lorenzo in terms of things you want personally for them to do defensively during the bye week, and maybe ideas that you would like to see implemented?
Not a whole lot. Not a whole lot. I think if you look back to our Vandy game, the plan was pretty good in place. They hit us on a couple of stretch zones, and that's something you just got to get off blocks and make tackles. And the interior defensive line have got to, they've got to get off those blocks. They can't get cut at the point of attack. We're going to implement a little bit new scheme of things. We're going to get a little physical in practice. We're going to cut. We're going to full tackle, take to the ground, and it's not going to be the first time they see this in game type situations. So whether that may be the biggest change, it may not be. But I'm certainly paying close attention. I watch them out there each and every day in practice. I see them coaching and teaching, and unless I see something that's just needs to be changed, I'm gonna let Coach Oak kind of handle it.
You talked about the quarterbacks being back in the fold, but as in general as a whole, is this as healthy as y'all have been in quite some time this year?
I think so. Debo Samuel's still out with nursing a hamstring injury, but other than him, we're pretty much good to go. We don't have a problem with injuries at this point, and everybody's pretty fresh and solid, and we're ready to get after it this week.
Shawn, you've obviously known college football in the Carolinas a long time. I am curious, as you went out last week and recruited and saw some of the same people, whether it's coaches, parents, players, how differently were you received by them just in everything that's happened the last couple of weeks, and how'd you handle that?
It was really odd, and you always, whether you're a South Carolina coach, Clemson coach, you always get the looks when you show up to football games, but boy, I had a lot of people that were just coming up and extending their hand, and it didn't matter if they were Clemson fans, Georgia fans, South Carolina fans. I mean, it was almost like, hey, we're behind you. Let's go do this. You can do it, and it was just a really good feeling. I encountered so many, new faces with just strangers just coming up to you. And I don't know, I don't know how this interim thing works, but I can imagine a lot of places the interim head coach doesn't get treated like that. It's kind of just waiting for this guy to get out of here and let's get the next coach in. But I never got a feeling like that was the case.
You addressed the injuries a second ago. Is Rico McWilliams available to you this week after that concussion?
Yes.
And on the quarterback situation, you look at the depth chart, and I think Connor is listed second. Lorenzo is listed fourth. Is that just where they are? Do you read anything more?
That's just something for you guys to kind of write about. To tell you the truth, we just, Perry Orth's our starter, and we, second, third, or fourth. Who knows? It's about what we need to do to get the job done. Nunez could be in there second series. Who knows? But don't pay a whole lot of attention to that about who starts the game.
Shawn, Zach is listed as Knott's backup. Could he also play some guard and maybe get in there at a spot beside center?
Let me tell you, we've been trying to get that accomplished for quite a while now, and it just hasn't worked out with not being out for the few games, and then last game we had to suspend Alan Knott for academic purposes, and it just didn't work out. So Zach hasn't had a whole lot of opportunity to play the guard position. But, Allen's back full speed, and Zach is certainly ready to go at the guard position, so, after a full week of practice.
You made some changes immediately in your first week, trying to get guys, I think, to have more fun in football seemed to be one of your messages. Is that tougher as you move on through the season?
I don't think so. I don't think so at all. We went through the course of last week, a lot of smiles, a lot of guys, running around, having fun at practice. We rolled right back out there yesterday. The same looks were on their eyes. Nothing had changed whatsoever. They were excited to get back. The open week has something to do with it. When you take something away or you have an extended time off, coming back is always a little bit more energetic than just continuing to practice over and over again. But when you look at these guys' faces, they're walking through the door, handshakes after handshakes, smiles. How you doing, Coach? How y'all? And just ready to go. We've got, I guess a fun football team right now. I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but there's not a lot of long faces, not a lot of heads dragging. Everybody's working in the right direction and moving forward.
Coach, can you sense any extra excitement from Elliott Fry just getting to go back to the home state?
Well, I was just around him yesterday at practice, and Elliott's always got a little bit of excitement to him. He's got that wit to him. But I can imagine if you were that guy and you were going back to play in your home state and you had grown up, I don't know if he was necessarily an A&M fan, but he's got to have that excitement, that little twinkle in his eye, that spirit. He's a long way from home. He doesn't have many opportunities to go showcase his talents in front of the fans that grew up watching him kick. And I'm sure, if I put myself in that position, I'd be smiling from ear to ear and ready to go.
Coach Travell Wharton took over your former position. What have you seen from his coaching style and how the guys are reacting to him the past couple of weeks?
It was really good to have Travell here in the quality control position. Not necessarily in the coaching role, but around the players. And, they respect Travell. He's a South Carolina Gamecock, and he played a lot of years in the NFL, so he brings instant credibility. So when he speaks to our football team or to the offensive line, they understand exactly that this guy's done it, and he knows exactly what he's talking about. I think they've, opened him up and brought him into the position group and made him, he was already one of our own, but you know what I mean? When you're the position coach, it's a little bit different. And he's wearing that. He's got that little pride to go on with him. He enjoys it, and these players enjoy having him.
Back on the subject of Elliott Fry, given some of the red zone struggles that you guys have had this year, where would you be without him?
Elliott's a great kicker, let me tell you. To be without Elliott Fry would be, shoo. He's I don't know what he's leading us, what his scoring opportunities are or what his points scored are, but he's a heck of a kicker. We'd be far worse off than not having him. I can tell you that.
I know this year is a lot different. You take it year to year, but what do you remember from last year's A&M game specifically, and did any of that kind of stay with you through the offseason?
Oh, from an A&M team, I remember speed, and they had a lot of speed that could cover sideline to sideline. And when I reflect on that game, I can look back saying we didn't. We looked tired, we looked sluggish, we just looked slow. There was a lot of things you can look back and say happened in that football game, and taken away from that was the speed. But then, of course, I think taken away from that was a little bit of overconfidence. I think our players went into the football game not being, I won't say prepared, but they didn't understand exactly what was fixing to come out there and hit them. And when it happened, it really slapped us in the face and slapped us really quickly, and it was hard to overcome. It was like taking that one shot that you can't ever recover from if you're in a fight or in a boxing match. And we took that one shot, and our guys, they had that shell shock looked on our face, and it went downhill from there.
Shawn, with the red zone struggles, is it just a matter of execution, or is it a matter of trying to just line up and have new formations?
It's a combination of a lot of things. You've got to have some new formations. You've got to get downhill and run the football. You've got to make catches in the back of the end zone when they're thrown to you. there's a lot of things that you can point for the struggles right there, but no one in particular thing that we want to pinpoint right now. We've all got to do a better job coaching, assignment-wise, and making plays. And right now we haven't had the playmakers, and we haven't had the execution, and we haven't had the play calling.
Going back to what you were saying about Texas A&M, how do you factor in, or how do you get your team thinking to find a happy medium and maybe not being too hyped up, but might being too low going into the Texas A&M game because of the way it went last year? And then you know what I'm saying? Do you get that?
No.
Do you think you have to worry about that, or is it just that they're a fun team and you think they'll be ready?
I think they'll be ready. Overhyped? I don't know. I mean, I hear a lot of people, are you going to be over anxious to get out there and play? I don't think you can ever be over anxious to do anything. I mean, so I don't think it'll play a factor whatsoever.
As the only known on-the-record candidate for the head coaching job, has Coach Tanner given you any idea when he wants to talk to you about the future and actually do a formal interview with you?
No, he hasn't shared that information with me. Right now, I would say this is a pretty formal interview. I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, every single day I'm being interviewed, and he's watching this press conference right now, seeing, how I'm handling these questions and addressing the answers. And then, of course, he watches us game day and at practice. So, every single day I'm being interviewed, unlike a lot of other guys that are behind the scenes. But I'm sure in due time there's going to be the necessary, quote-unquote, formal interview. At least I would like to think so. And when it does happen, I hope what we've done from last week to this week and moving forward will say a lot as well.
Questions for Coach Elliott? All right, sure.
Once. Thank you all very much. Appreciate it.
Just an FYI that likely they will move indoors for football practice today, so we'll do interviews the south end zone down here. Oh, no.
Bryson, I got about seven tickets. Okay. So you want the first? I'll do the first 10. Okay. And if you put any this, that, and the other, then we know you're thinking.
You're young. You don't feel like you're going to actually pull some fat or
Years ago. Like, oh, it is freaking down. We go on the air. Game one. He's surprising he's ever right.
What they do, what they pick up, what they pick up. You know what though? If you watch Hard Knocks, he came off as kind of a fake ass. You know, I heard guys like, if he doesn't get his way, he knows that.
All right, our final player today will be Bryson Allen Williams. Questions for Bryson, please raise your hands for the microphone. To the left, David.
Bryson, take us back to your memories of the Texas A&M game last year. I know that was over a year ago, but how kind of stunning was that for everybody? And is anybody talking about it or mentioning it this week?
Yeah, it was definitely it definitely left a bad taste in our mouths. That was my first college game, and going out there and playing like that, we really didn't live up to the expectations. So this year it's kind of like redemption. We get the opportunity to go to College Station, and go out there and play the best game of the year.
After kind of getting thrown in there and playing a lot during the last game, how much more comfortable do you feel going into Texas A&M?
Oh, I definitely feel a lot more comfortable. Me and TJ, going, we got a lot of reps, splitting with each other, like always. So, just going in, learning the defense this week, having that mindset that at any moment I can be thrown back in there.
Using that same verbiage, comfortable. How comfortable do you think the defense is right now? And how good was the bye week for the defense as a whole?
It was a great bye week. Coach Hoke, they definitely, implemented, just having fun. Going out there making plays. When you get takeaways, you tend to win games. Just putting emphasis on that. And it was, like I said, it was a great bye week for us.
Bryson, I know you talked about this a little bit, but were you just kind of shocked last year at what Texas A&M did? I mean, what was the mindset of the team going into the game and then just as the game progressed?
I mean, we didn't really have film on the quarterback. We didn't know who the quarterback was going to be going into it last year. This year we definitely know who the quarterback would be. We can game plan for the quarterback. We can game plan for everything that they have. It was a new team without Johnny Manziel last year, so you didn't know who was going to be the quarterback and what style of play they were going to have. But this year we'll be ready.
What is it about their offense that's so challenging?
They spread the ball out. They play like Coach Hoke, Coach Ward told us yesterday. They play from number to number. They try to put their athletes in space against our athletes, and trying to see who gonna make the plays. So.
Staying on Texas A&M's offense, they've shown flashes of kind of brilliance and explosiveness, but have sputtered in weeks of late. What are you expecting from their skill position players this week?
They're gonna try to play big. Like you said, they lost. They lost their last two games, so. This is a statement game for them too, so they're trying to go out there and they're going to try to, run the score up on us. So we got to go out there and play total defense.
To the middle.
For you guys as linebackers, how tricky is it the way that they move the pocket, especially with pulling those guards out to kind of lead on passes?
They give certain keys, that you're able to read, to tell if they're, passing the ball or running the ball. But it's going to be tricky. They're a very explosive team. They're a very good team. And they don't have one of the top offenses in the country for no reason. So it's gonna be a very tricky game.
With the new scheme and everything that you guys are doing defensively now, do you feel like you're more prepared maybe to stop their kind of offense and stop them this year, or at least slow them down?
Oh yeah, definitely. But they're like you're gonna have to slow them down. You're not gonna be able to totally stop them. But yeah, Coach Hoke, he definitely put some things in that would be able to help us slow them down a little bit this year.
Bryson, does this feel more like a normal football week for you guys after the upheaval of the last?
Oh yeah,
week
definitely,
and a half or so?
definitely. The coaches, they've definitely made it more back normal. It's definitely normal. We're all behind Coach Elliott. Coach Elliott is our head coach right now, and he's very passionate. He gives a lot of he shows us that he really loves the team, loves the game, and we're ready to go play for him. So.
As a linebacker, do you expect to have to deal a lot with Christian Kirk on crossing routes and stuff, or do they tend to keep him a little bit more on the outside?
That's one of their biggest playmakers. They put him in the backfield sometimes. They try to switch it up. They try to get him the ball. So, he's going to be all over the field. And as a linebacker, all of us, we're going to have to be able to tackle him in space.
Just wondering what you knew of Texas A&M kind of growing up, and did you ever expect to play there?
No, I really didn't watch Texas A&M growing up. I'm from Atlanta, so I was mostly in the SEC. Watching Georgia, Florida, South Carolina, Tennessee, those type of teams. I really didn't, watch Texas teams growing up.
Any other questions for Bryson? Thank you, Bryson. That is a wrap.